Fucking monsters. Oh, sorry.
Eavesdroppin.
Hi, Michelle. Michelle,
Geordie.
hello.
Geordie, hello.
We've got to somehow pull ourselves together today. I don't know
still
what's
in the
going on.
robe.
You're
still
in the robe.
robe. I know.
I'm in a foul mood. I'm hoping that you might be able to cheer me up.
Do you know what? Having a little convo is always a good.
You know, exactly. Pick
Tonic.
up the phone, talk to your mates when you're feeling down in the mouth. I think it's the only thing you can do.
It's true. It's when you can't have a gin and tonic because it's too early.
Oh, God. Is
You
it
have a
time?
conversation.
Can we have one?
And I'd
God,
love
you've just
one.
sparked my interest. You've piqued my interest. I want a
Honestly,
G&T.
Look, I know I talk about champagne a lot, but champagne any time of the day. Champagne with breakfast, champagne with brunch, champagne with lunch, champagne in the afternoon. Anyway, enough of that.
Michelle, last week's episode was all about love, and it didn't take the twists and the turns that we thought it was going to take. It wasn't as happy, except for Darcy and Jack's wonderful story of how they ended up getting together and being very happy through a turbulent time.
Yes.
But we do have a few apologies probably to make. I know I threw some very wayward facts and figures out there to the audience.
Did you?
Yeah.
Fuck. All right.
I think when we were talking about, you had some great information about, what's that man's name again?
Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy, thank you. And I said, when you were talking about his wife Carol Ann Boone, and
Yes.
I was confused because I know he had a work colleague called somebody who wrote a book, An Angel at My Bedside, I called it, or something. Her name's Anne Rule. The book is called A Stranger Beside Me.
Not an angel at my table.
Or an angel at my bedside. No. And I also wanted to really point out here, no one's come back to us on this one, but Michelle, Charles Manson is in no way hot. Yes, you can have Ricky Gervais, you can have that one in the bank, but you cannot have Charles Manson.
No, I'm not saying he's hot. I'm just saying for a serial killer, he's not bad.
No.
I'm not saying he's hot.
For a serial killer, he is bad.
Yeah, I know.
Although he never got his hands dirty.
What do
You know
mean?
that, right? He never committed any of the murders.
Oh yeah,
that
I
he's
know.
in
That's
prison,
true.
that he was in prison for. Yeah.
Yes,
He had
yes.
other
He
people
just
do it.
orchestrated it all.
Yeah.
He was the Keith Raniere
Exactly.
of the
Exactly.
Manson family.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah, no.
also, I couldn't believe that I forgot Tom Hardy Cox's name.
Oh my God.
Tom Hardcox, a friend of mine, a friend of the show, Nina. She has really highly recommended that we watch the Bronson biopic film that he was in because there's a lot of full frontals, a lot of D on display.
Ooh.
Yeah. A lot of Hardy D. A lot of Tom Hardy Cox.
Okay, that sounds like something not to watch with the fiance.
And I just wanted to mention about Charles Bronson, a.k.a. Charles Salvador, etc., because he calls himself all manner of names. He didn't kill anyone at all. He was in prison for armed robbery originally, in and out of all sorts of prisons. But while he was in prison, during some of the durations, he has taken numerous hostages.
What?
Both other prisoners and staff. He's been to more than 120 prisons across the UK, attacked more than 20 prison guards and countless prisoners, taken 11 hostages and caused more than £500,000 in damage. This man used to be a circus strongman. He's quite an interesting character. I'm going to watch that Hardy Cox film, actually. I think I will.
Oh, he sounds like a nice man, doesn't he? Nice chap.
Yes. He was married to a former Coronation Street star. Now, that's
What?
very, like through the, obviously, the pen pal scheme or the prison Tinder scheme.
Are
and
you
also,
fucking joking?
No, not joking. And also threatened former EastEnders star Nasty Nick Cotton. Can't remember the name of the actor. John Altman, I think his name is. I've probably got that wrong. He's now, as far as I could find out, he's in a category A in Wakefield Prison in solitary confinement.
Oh my God.
He's very strong. He can bend metal doors with his bare hands. And his training regime includes up to 3,000 press-ups a day. Now, I know that's almost a podcast in itself, Michelle, but I just wanted to talk to you about Charles Bronson, a.k.a. Salvador Dor, a.k.a. 100 other names that he's been known by.
Honestly, like, what
Did you know about him?
What? No, nothing. I seriously thought you were talking about Charles Bronson, the actor. What makes these ladies think he's a catch. Seriously, I don't fucking get it. Because,
Well, he's fascinating.
yeah, he's fascinating. And look, do you know what? I think people can fall in love online. We see it all the time.
Yeah.
People fall in love on the chat. People get catfished. I've had both sort of happen to me.
You've been
in
catfished?
the past. Yes.
Have you?
Yeah, when I was on Plenty of Fish. No, not Plenty of Fish. What was it? One of those dating apps when I was single. Super hot dude messaging me, and I was like, no, this is too weird.
Why was it weird?
Because he looked like a fucking model.
Yeah, but you're gorgeous.
Oh, doll, thank
Everybody
you.
loves a tiny 4'0" brunette.
Yeah.
Look at Kylie Minogue. She's very popular.
She's not brunette.
No, she's not, but she's tiny.
She is tiny. She's tiny, but she's had a checkered love life. But no, I got catfished because I thought, right,
Checkered?
Yeah. I thought I'm going to check this guy out. So I did one of those screenshots and did like a reverse Google search.
What?
Yeah, because you can
Is
do
that
that.
a journalist's trick?
Yeah. And
Wow.
and this guy was all over the internet as some hot model. So
He's not.
no. And so I messaged back and I was like, who are you really? Dude, seriously, who are you? And I think he was just like some fat guy behind a computer in buttfuck nowhere in America.
What happens when you say, let's meet? though?
Oh, they never do. Have you seen catfish?
I have seen catfish, yes. But they do. They turn up and then somebody refuses to come out. I've only seen one episode, in all fairness. They refuse to come out of the house. And when they do, oh my God, your heart breaks because they're some very introverted, very sad person. And it's they've got a rich life through the internet.
It's a mine of just voyeuristic pleasure.
Blimey.
It's
Listen, let me
terrible.
move on to more apologies or just corrections. We were talking about John Wayne and John Wayne Gacy, weren't we?
Yes.
And I said that he may have had accomplices, but it's not been proven at this point.
Okay.
That's the only thing correction there. And also John Wayne's real name, John Wayne, his real name is not Marilyn Manson. What's his real name?
Marion!
Marion Morrison.
He's an MM, just like me.
And Michelle Margarita and Marilyn Monroe.
And Eminem. No.
Marshall Mathers.
Marshall Mathers. Yeah, it's all the best ones. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Have you got any apologise? I mean, I didn't look into the penis, what happens when it gets, the blood circulation gets cut off permanently, whether it does shrink.
I did a Google search and I did think if anyone
Thanks.
went through my history, I think I wrote something like, what happens to a dick if it gets cut off? Does it shrivel up?
If
Does
anything
it
happens to your fiancé,
Oh, God,
you're
I
in
know.
trouble.
I know. If I end up being pushed into a crevasse, you heard it here first. Just to let you know. Anyway, no, I think it was if you cut off a dick, does it shrivel up?
Right.
And basically, it does because obviously
I knew that.
I know because it's engorged with blood. So yes.
I knew that basic principle of biology. But so how come poor Lorena Bobbitt couldn't drive with this giant dick on her lap?
Well,
And had to throw it out the window.
I don't think
that's
it was
the
on
reason.
her lap. I think she was holding it.
Oh,
Yes,
you
but
wouldn't
even
want to
still,
hold that.
I mean, look,
She could have just slipped it on one of her little fingers probably by that point.
oh, Geordie, that's disgusting. It's not a sock puppet.
Have you? If that's all our apologies, is it?
Yeah, I've got no apologies today. Oh, except I did want to talk to you about RuPaul. Did you watch it?
Yes, I did. Bimini Bomb Boolash, you nailed it, baby cakes.
She was fucking fantastic in the Snatch Game.
Oh, my
Absolutely
God.
amazing. Lawrence Chaney, what a dud.
Oh, Lawrence.
What a dud.
But that's what happens, isn't it? You know, you can't
Yeah.
be flying high. And on the American one, I think my favourite, Simone, didn't do well this week either.
Oh, she did not. No, she had to lip sync for her life.
She'll come
and then,
back.
And then Rue pulled a banger, didn't
I
he?
know. But don't
I
tell people
know.
what happened, just in case.
No, no
they haven't seen
spoilers. No.
I watched some other things which I kind of didn't really need to watch, but
Yeah.
I had one which
Welcome
was
to my
dull
life.
and one that was surprisingly exciting.
Okay. Tell
So I
me.
watched The Investigation, which is a true crime drama based on the murder of the journalist Kim Wall it happened in Denmark. She's Swedish. And
Okay.
it was this kind of wealthy guy who built a submarine and had been trying to get women onto the submarine. And,
What?
and she'd been trying to interview him as a
hell.
journalist for a long time. And eventually she got on this submarine and she was never seen again. But down to it was just very, very slow and very long-winded. And it was all based on the investigation. You never heard the murderer's name mentioned, which I really liked because I think at the time, this murder happened, I think it was, I don't know, just a few years ago. It wasn't long ago.
Okay.
And it was all based on him because he was a fascinating character, and nothing much was said of Kim Wall. And her parents appear in the program, not her real parents, but actors play her parents. And it is the guy that was in the first series of The Killing.
Okay.
Who has not aged well. He's a bit like a green potato in a bad cardigan.
Oh, no.
But I loved watching the house in Sweden. Their parents' house is stunning. And they live on the Sound. It's bloody gorgeous. Very slow, lots of diving. But I did enjoy it.
Should I watch it for some interior design tips?
Yes, if nothing else. And the other thing I watched, I was searching for the original, very poor film, Super Mario Brothers from the 90s, which I've seen 100 times. My son wanted to see it. My son wanted to see it. Now, Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo starred in this, and I used to have the biggest crush on John Leguizamo. He's about your height, so it would never have worked. But he is... when I saw him in Romeo and Juliet as Tybalt, oh my God, I've just never... even now when I see it, I get flutters. I just think he's stunning.
Oh my God. He's your hall pass.
He's my hall pass. But he is a comedian. I didn't know this because he's always in dramatic roles. Like he's Benny Blanco from the Bronx in that fabulous film.
No idea.
With Al Pacino, Al Patch. What's it called?
Oh, God knows.
It's a bloody good film. It's one of my favourite films of all time.
Goodfellas.
No, the other one that I love. What's it fucking called? I'll come back to that. Anyway, I looked for that terrible film, Super Mario Brothers, for my son. I found John Leguizamo in his one-man show, Ghetto Clown. And I thought,
God.
I'll give it a watch. But oh my God, I was laughing out loud. He is amazing.
Oh, wow.
He's amazing.
Okay.
It's about his life. And it was very interesting. He does a fantastic Al Pacino impersonation, by the way. It is better than
Al Pacino.
Rob Brydon. No. I was really floored. It was amazing.
Okay, I'll give it a whirl.
Give it a whirl.
I spoke to Tom. My friend and yours, Tom. And he's very
Tom Hardy Cox.
Yeah, it's Tom Hardy Cox. And we were chit-chatting away. He suggested a show called A Teacher. Now, have you watched this?
No.
BBC. Look, I'm in two minds about it. Don't want to give too much away. Maybe you can have a listen. But it's got Kate Mara in it. She was the one from House of Cards. She's the one.
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, she was the one that got pushed onto the railway lines. It's about Kate Mara is a hot school teacher who ends up having an affair with her student, and it is sort of like tapping into the whole Me Too movement. It's about sexual abuse from a person, who's in power, grooming, but female doing it to male. But it's really weirdly done because it makes you sympathise with her character. And you're kind of rooting for her for it to be not sexual abuse, but for it to be, they just really fell in love. But it's not like that. I don't know what to think about it.
Tell me how old the student is.
He's 17, turning 18. So, look, it's really borderline. I'm not sure what to think about this because the way they've portrayed it is bizarre. I'd love you to
I'll give that a watch. Yeah.
And see, it's really quick. They're like 20-minute episodes or something. So then it's not, you can zip through the whole thing pretty quick.
Okay.
But,
I like it when they're only 20 minutes long. My concentration span is very short these
or maybe
days.
25. It's not long,
okay.
They're not hour-long eps. So, I'm not sure about it. I don't know what to think because it was bizarrely structured in the way of the story. I don't know.
Okay.
TBC.
Going back to Tom Hardy Cox, though, Michelle.
You're obsessed. What is wrong with you?
I just want to say a couple of things about him because you know that he was in Peaky Blinders with... No, he wasn't with Noah Taylor, but Noah Taylor was also in that. So I was looking for a connection.
Noah Taylor was not in Peaky Blinders.
Yes, he was.
What?
Yes, he was.
Are you sure it wasn't Ben Mendelsohn?
It wasn't Mendel's.
No, seriously.
Bendels.
I don't remember Noah being in Peaky Blinders.
Well, maybe you didn't watch that episode or that. Hang on, let me just quickly do a quick Google.
What,
Hang on.
are you not thinking of Killian
No,
Murphy?
he wasn't a star. No, he was one. For one season, he was the latest bad boy. Bad guy, not bad boy.
Bad boy.
I think he was Italian. He was an Italian in London. There he is. Yeah,
All
he
right.
was
How did I miss that?
Darby Sabini. Darby
All right.
Sabini.
Okay.
Mr. Sabini. Yeah?
All right. If you say so, I need to
But-
go back and rewatch.
Yes. So I then did find out about a Bendels and Tom Hardy Cox connection.
Oh.
They were both in The Dark Knight Rises.
No.
And Hardy Cox was Bane with the kind of grill on his face. I couldn't understand anything he said. And our lovely Bendels was kind of like a bad guy in the Wayne Corporation.
Okay. Well, there you go.
There's a connection.
There
I
is a
reckon
connection.
everybody has, at some point, there is a connection with everybody to Ben Mendelsohn. One of
6
these
degrees
days.
of separation. 6 degrees of Ben Mendelsohn. Forget Kevin Bacon. 6 degrees of Ben Mendelsohn.
Yes, absolutely.
I think I'm going to do a flowchart. I'm
Do
going
it.
to do that.
Yeah,
Watch the website, guys. Eavesdroppinpodcast.com.
let's do that.
Yes.
So
right.
we decided, I mean, you're never happy with the ones that I recommend. Mythical creatures.
Look, that's not true. I am happy with things you recommend. I have to say, elves,
You don't like fairies. You don't like elves.
all of this stuff, not into it. But you know what? I give it a good go, Geordie. I give it a
You
good
give it
go.
a red hot go.
So, what are we talking about this week?
Mythical creatures. Now, this could go right back to the reason, not the reason why we started the podcast, but around the time when we started the podcast and we were watching our favourite actor, Ben Mendelsohn, in The Outsider.
Yes,
Because
we
if you
were.
remember that series, which I hope you watched to the very end, did you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah?
It got a bit silly at the end, but yes.
Yeah, maybe. But it was about a mythical Latin American creature known as Chupacabra. Do you remember? That was what they were calling it, Chupacabra. A vampiric, reptile-like creature said to have leathery or scaly, greenish-grey skin and sharp spines or quills running down its back. And it's supposed to be about your height, 3 to 4 feet high, and stands and hops in a fashion similar to that of a kangaroo. And it's thought to be the culprit of dead livestock and pets with puncture wounds and completely drained of blood. Now, obviously, in the Outsider version, it was a shape-shifting creature, but that's what they called it. It was like the boogeyman in Latin American culture. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is the little connection back. I mean, that's all I've got to say about that guy. But there. If you look into mythology, there is so much out there about mythological creatures, and of course, the first thing you think of when you're thinking about mythology is things like the abominable. No, I can't even say it.
Abominable Snowman.
Yeah, and
Yes.
Loch Ness.
Loch Ness. Well, it's funny because when I was looking into this, I thought, fuck it. I'm not doing all the little tiny ones. I'm going for the big hitters. So I've done
Go for it.
So I've done some research on Bigfoot, aka Yeti,
Yeah.
Abominable Snowman,
AKA. That's all they call it,
Sasquatch.
isn't it? Yeah, that's
Sasquatch.
it. Sasquatch. That's it. Yes.
Right. So, do you want me to talk about him, or have you got?
Why don't you? No, you go for it.
Okay. So Bigfoot. Everyone's heard of Bigfoot. It turns out it's basically just the generic name for big hairy creatures. So, like I said, we've got Sasquatch, the Yeti, Abominable Snowman, and they're all just Bigfoot of one kind or another. And basically, I just think they're big hairy giant apes that walk on 2 feet, have fur. They're generally over 8 feet tall. And Sasquatch is the one from North America, whereas Yeti / Abominable Snowman is more
in the Himalayas. Yeah.
And look, there have been loads of sightings over the years. However, the most recent one was in 2007.
What?
Yeah. Fucking 2007. Anyway.
Because I know about the one, doing my research about mythical creatures, I did come across a podcast that I listened to about this, and it was talking about the famous footage of the woman that turned, like the booby woman.
Well, I'll get to
Bigfoot?
this.
Yeah.
I think maybe we're talking about the same one. But this one in 2007, so there was a hunter called Rick Jacobs, and he rigged up a camera to a tree and set it to like auto trigger whenever
Where
there
was
was
this?
movement.
In Northern California?
No, this was in Allegheny National Forest in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Now, while some claim it's Bigfoot, the Pennsylvania Game Commission got involved in this because he captured some images of what he reckons was Bigfoot. Basically, look, I looked at the images, and in one image, it kind of looks like this long, tall, skinny, rangy bear. But it's hard to tell because A, it's shot at night, and B, it's kind of like leaning over. You know, with when you do like night photography and they get those like eyes that just shine. Yeah. So it's a bit dodgy. But anyway, I looked and
I want to see.
you can't really get any scale of how big the creature is. And to be honest, it just looks like a bear. And the Pennsylvania Game Commission got involved in this. And they said, basically, it's a bear with a mangy skin condition. That's what it is. And look, I'm not convinced it's Bigfoot. But, you know, maybe I'll put a link in the show notes and you can check it out and see what you think. But then I think this is what you're referring to. The most famous sighting of Bigfoot happened October 20th, 1967. Now, there were two guys, Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin.
Yeah.
Gimlin.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were out camping along Bluff Creek in California. And look, according to Bob, who has stayed reasonably quiet over the years about what he saw, he gave an interview last year at the ripe old age of 88. And look, I don't mean this in a creepy way, but he looked fucking good. Like,
Look out, Ricky Gervais, and Charles Manson, you're about to be knocked off your top spot by
an octogenarian
Bob Gimlin.
No, do you know what? He looks like a cowboy. You know, he's got his cowboy hat on.
I've seen pictures of him. He looks all right. He looks good. Looks like he's had a healthy, good life.
I'm telling you, he looks like he's still out on a horse doing a bucking bronco rodeo. So
that fresh air must be good for you then. Take heed, people.
So, you know, he's got this like grey handlebar moustache. I mean, he's just in good nick. Anyway.
Yeah.
So he did this interview where he basically talks about the day he and his mate saw a female Sasquatch.
That's right. When the boobies hanging down. That's how they knew.
Swishing around.
And everybody's seen this picture as well. If you've ever seen a picture of a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot, it's this footage, isn't it?
Yeah, I saw the footage.
Yeah.
I saw the video.
We all have. We all have
not
seen
just
it
the
because
pictures,
it's out there.
Not the pictures, the actual video.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, basically, he says they were riding by the river on horseback when his mate, Patterson, saw the Sasquatch.
I happen to know, because I listened to the podcast, that Patterson was a big fan and a believer in this. He believed in Bigfoot, whereas Bob Gimlin, not so much. He just kind of put up with his friend because he was a bit quirky.
Okay.
So that's why they were there. And Patterson had the camera. Gimlin just had a shotgun. He was just out there doing some hunting and hanging out with his pal.
Right. Okay. Because I did get a little bit of background where there had been some sightings and there'd been some footprints. And that's why the mate, Patterson, was like, fuck it, let's go out. Like, let's go Sasquatch. So, you know, not hunting. They didn't want to kill it, but they wanted
just to go and have a look. He was fascinated by it.
Yeah, really.
And the precursor to this was that I think in the 50s, there had been a construction site somewhere, I can't remember all the details, where it was all trashed and there were big footprints. And that was the first kind of big famous, not sighting, but evidence of a Bigfoot. And this construction site, the man who owned it, his brother was like absolutely this, but he was known as a bit of a practical joker. So they always thought he'd made it up. But he ruined his brother's company because his men walked off the site. They were so freaked out. Wow. And he maintained till his deathbed that it wasn't him, that it was definitely, the footprints were definitely that of a Bigfoot. Yeah, but after he died, his family came forward and said, look, we've got this great big fucking wooden pair of feet that he was using. But the feet didn't correlate with the footprints. The feet were too small and the wrong shape.
Oh.
The wooden feet.
Okay.
That's my tuppence worth. Carry on with your story, Michelle. Sorry to interrupt.
Look, I'm just going to put this in a nutshell. Basically, they were out riding. Patterson saw the Sasquatch. They were on horseback. The horse was freaked out. Patterson was thrown off his horse. But he managed to get up and get his video camera out of his saddlebag and film the Sasquatch walking away. And like I said, I've seen the footage and it's grainy as hell. You know, it's shot from far away. And honestly,
It's the 60s.
it's the 60s. And look, to me, it just looks like somebody off the set of Planet of the Apes. However, did you look it up?
I did.
It
and,
was shot.
You know,
It was shot a year later.
well, the Planet of the Apes won awards for their makeup and costume, right?
Okay. Yeah.
A year later. But when you compare them, so I saw a talk with an anatomy professor who showed that grainy footage to his students.
Okay.
And they compared it side by side with Cornelius or whoever it was in Planet of the Apes, Roddy McDowell.
Yeah.
And it looked like a giant pudding in a furry suit compared to the footage, the Gimlin-Patterson footage, right?
Really?
And
Okay.
the anatomy students could make out trapezoid muscles. They could find the muscles in this walking gorilla person.
Yeah.
They could find the muscles, which you wouldn't see through a furry suit. You wouldn't see the rippling of a muscle. They slowed down the footage. They did lots of work on it. And they found, they also found, calf muscles, muscles moving in a way that a body would normally move under the fur, rather than somebody wearing a suit. And also the footprint as well.
Okay.
Because she left footprints when
Yep.
she walked away, and they managed to get casts of those. There's hundreds of casts somewhere in a office somewhere. It was in a way that if you were wearing a furry shoe, you wouldn't get the kind of
The
pattern
contour of it,
the
yeah.
of the way that the maybe the ball goes down and then the heel rises. And
Look, what do you think? Because obviously you've seen the footage too. And
I know what I think. I've got quite a strong opinion on this.
oh, all right, let me hear it. I'm ready.
Well, it's not that strong. It's a very loose, very fast. And
It's
loose,
gone from strong to kind of loose.
Well, you know that the FBI did investigate into this, and then they went quiet. Is that in your notes?
No, I don't know anything about this. I mean, honestly, I skimmed over all this stuff. So.
Then they declassified the information some years later, and there was nothing in there about it. And also, you must also know that a man came forward and said, I was the guy in the suit, and he passed a lie detector test.
Okay.
And there were other people involved in the Gimlin-Patterson film that say it was all done for monetary gain. But their friendship fell out.
Really?
They didn't speak to each other again. And sadly, Patterson died in his 50s.
Yeah, in the early 70s, didn't
Yeah,
he?
they died having not rekindled their friendship. So friendship broke up after that. Bob Gimlin's marriage almost broke down over it because his wife was a bank teller and she used to get people coming in and making fun of her. He used to be made fun of constantly, and it almost broke their marriage up. Now, do you think at that point they might say, okay, hands up, we're faking it?
Yeah.
But he never did. And even now at 88, he's still coming forward with saying, I know what I saw.
Jesus.
Now, the reason why it would be covered up, why would it be covered up? Why? Is it because it could be a missing link or another species? Now, new species are being discovered all the time. There was a new species of miniature giraffe that was recently discovered.
Oh.
Now, they haven't just popped up. May have been there all along. We just haven't seen it. It's a big earth.
Yeah.
Attenborough can't get everywhere at once, can he? But maybe it is a missing link. And they knew that. They're saying that in this video of the lady ape running away, that she knew that there was trouble. She knew she was getting away. She wasn't hanging around. She wasn't going to attack. They are very secretive. And also back in the 50s when that first incident occurred, they had found patterns of long, it's 7 foot tall, 5 foot wide, Michelle. That's you lying down. That's how wide this body is.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. How can somebody get into a suit and be 7 foot tall and 5 feet wide? And
It is. I get you on that point, but in that footage, she's not running. She is casually sauntering away.
Don't forget that film is not real time. It's weird kind of 60s film. So maybe she's running a bit faster. She's getting away. She's not running. She probably doesn't need to. She's 7 foot tall. One stride would be like three jog steps or something, maybe.
Yeah, that's true.
And also, Patterson's on the ground. Gimlin's got his gun out, mind you.
That's true, yeah.
Gimlin has got his shotgun out. Patterson's on the ground. He's fallen over. And when he falls over, that's when she turns around.
Okay. Fuck. Yes, that's true. It's like she's reacting to him falling.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think the reason why there's a cover-up, and there's always going to be a difference of opinion about these kind of things, is because it throws the whole theory, Darwin's theory of evolution, into question.
Yeah.
Possibly. That perhaps it didn't happen the way he said it did. If there's a missing link. What's so funny?
Sorry, I've got this cat walking all over me. The neighbour's cat. It's ringing. It's like got a bell around its neck. It's dinging that bell. It's purring into the microphone. I'm so sorry. Piss off. Bye-bye.
That's how you talk to cats.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, who knows? We're never going to find out. Are we? Maybe we will. Who knows?
But what I find it interesting is why declassify something like that? You know what?
And then
if
make out it's
cover-up.
nothing.
Now look,
Yeah.
I have a theory. Is it possible that instead of a missing link, it's basically an ape that has just had some kind of, deformity, and then maybe it's got that not human, but like that hormone condition where, just like humans, there are some that grow really, really tall.
Could be that too, Michelle.
Acromegaly.
I'm sure that's not how you say it, but good try.
But why? Why couldn't it just be like a freak family who all have this medical condition? I mean, you just don't know. You don't know these things.
Well, we don't know, and they're pretty good at hiding, clearly. So, and maybe they've died out.
But I didn't know there was a whole conspiracy theory around this. That's very interesting.
That is interesting. Shall I tell you about my research that I did?
Yes, please. What did you do?
Well, I was looking into mermaids, and I'll tell you why later.
Oh, I did a little on that too. Yes.
Did you? Well, I'm going to come to that in a second, because first that led me on to the kelpie, and I got my information mostly from History UK.
Okay.
And do you know what a kelpie is? You said you knew what a kelpie was. It's a little dog, an Aussie dog.
It is a kelpie, yes.
It's also a shape-shifting aquatic spirit of Scottish legend.
Oh, is it? Hang on. Is it connected to Loch Ness?
Might be.
Oh.
Almost every sizable body of water in Scotland has an associated kelpie story.
Okay.
But the most extensively reported is that of Loch Ness.
Yeah, Nessie.
So perhaps the origin of the story was the practical purpose of keeping children away from dangerous stretches of water and warning young women to be wary of handsome strangers.
Why? Why handsome strangers?
So the kelpie...
Oh, shape-shifting.
Shape-shifting.
Okay.
The kelpie may appear, and it always does bad things, it may appear as a tame pony beside a river. It's particularly attractive to children, but watch out, kiddies, don't touch it. Once on its back, it's really sticky. So once you jump on its back, its magical hide will not allow them to dismount.
Sorry, but who the fuck is jumping on the back of a weird, scaly, pointy creature?
It's not scaly, it's a lovely pony. It's a lovely pony, remember, Michelle?
Okay, sorry, I missed that bit. I thought we were still on a scaly creature.
No, but once trapped in this way, the kelpie will drag the child into the river and eat them.
Oh.
Yeah?
Kelpie's got to live.
Yeah. They can also appear in... That's nice.
Chomp, chomp.
Got to make a living. Got to eat sometime.
Got to have dinner.
These water horses can also appear in human form. Do you know that there's some beautiful statues in Falkirk of kelpies? I don't know how big they are, but on the internet they look stunning. They're like big horse heads made of silver kind of metal. I'm going to go there one day and see it once we're able to travel again. So they might even appear as a beautiful woman hoping to lure young men to their death.
Sirens.
Or they might take on the form of a hairy human lurking by the river. A bit like our friend, the booby Sasquatch.
I was just thinking, basically, any man with chest hair and back hair.
having a wash by the loch.
Having a wash by the loch. Gingers.
So they're ready to jump out and at unsuspecting travellers and crush them in a vice-like grip. I'm wondering, why would they crush them when they've got a sticky hide and they can just drag them into the water, then eat them after they've
Don't ask questions, Geordie. Don't ask the questions.
If you hear thunder by a loch, that will be the kelpie's tail hitting the water.
Not thunder. It's a tail.
Tail slapping the water. And if you are passing by a river and hear an unearthly wailing or howling, like ooh, sometimes you do hear that in the lochs in Scotland. You'll hear, or anywhere, on a plane or
well, it's not the wind, is
something.
It? Tell me what it is.
No, it's a warning of an approaching storm from a kelpie.
Oh, so they're trying to be nice.
They appear in Robert Burns's poem Address to the Devil. So anyway, going back to the connection between them and mermaids, I really don't know if there is one.
Okay.
But the reason why I wanted to talk about mermaids is because Hazel, the psychic real estate agent, has gotten in touch again.
Oh my God, I love a Hazel story. Bring it on, bring it on.
Well, first of all, she did tell me, just a quick aside, she was at a party because she's in Australia and they're having parties. They're not wearing masks. Well, they might be wearing masks, but they're socializing, you know, the whole day and night. They're having a fabulous time because they managed to kick the coronavirus in its arse.
Yep.
And they're all fine. So she went to a party recently and she'd had a few bevies. So she was a little bit 3 sheets to the wind. She approached a woman and said, "Your last name starts with H and it's chocolate. I'm being shown chocolate."
Oh.
And the woman says, "No." She said, "Your husband died and you have 2 children." The lady says, "No, not married, no kids."
Oh my God.
So Hazel's like, "Oh,
Hazel's lost it.
oh, got that wrong." So then the lady next to this woman said, "I have 2 kids and my husband died." Hazel says, "What's your last name?" And the lady says, "Haig." And apparently in Australia, there
Yes,
is
that's a chocolate
type
brand.
of chocolate
Yes.
called Haig.
Oh.
So she was right. She just got the wrong person.
Well, she was so fucking cross-eyed from the booze. She made a beeline for the wrong lady.
Seen double. But anyway, listen, she, in her capacity as a real estate agent, she had a phone call one day and straight afterwards she said, "I think I'm being punked. I've just had the weirdest conversation." A guy rang and said, "Oh, sorry about my voice. I've got a really sore throat." And so Hazel says, "Oh gosh, I hope you haven't got COVID." And he says, "Oh no, actually, it's something I ate last night." Hazel says, "Oh, you've got to be really careful with that. You might be allergic to something. It can be very dangerous."
Why is she engaging?
She's a friendly person.
She
He's
is,
just
she's-
rung up. He's rung the professional number. So obviously she knows this is going to be a potential client. He says, "Oh, no. I was actually eating a really hard pizza and it's hurt my throat." "Oh, okay."
We've all
she
had
said.
that, all been there.
Yeah. She said, "How can I help?" He says, "Oh, my girlfriend and I are looking to buy a house. We want to settle down for the next couple of years." So Hazel says, "Okay, what are you looking for?" He says, "Well, here's the thing. I'm a mermaid. We're mermaids. Do you know what a mermaid is?" She's thinking, oh, obviously he's not talking about half human, half fish. Maybe, you know, she's racking her brains and she's thinking maybe it's a job title or something. So she says, No, I don't." And he said, "Well, right. I'm half human and I'm half fish. So I'm a merman. She's a mermaid." Hazel pauses to take it all in. And then she very professionally carries on and says, "Okay, so what are your requirements? What are you looking for in a house?" He says, well, she's still, at this point, she's waiting for someone to start laughing.
Yeah.
But he carries on, "Well, we need a pool."
Oh my God.
"Okay," she said. "Look, I've got a property that's got a swimming pool at 40 Wentworth Avenue. They'll be opening at 1 o'clock today." Mm-hmm. He says, "Well, can you tell me a little bit more about the house?" And she said, "Well, it's 4-bed, 2 garages, carport, couple of bathrooms, got a swimming pool and a studio out the back." He asks, "What sort of flooring does it have?"
Okay.
She said, "I think it's got timber floors upstairs." He said, "Oh, I'm just a bit worried about staining it with our tails."
Oh my God.
Hazel is biting her lip at this point in the story. She's like,
Oh.
So she says, "Well, maybe you'll just have to make the pool salt water instead of chlorine because that might bleach the timber floors. But really, how long can you live outside of water for?" He said, about 24 hours. But, you know, our tails are very slimy. So sometimes I need to be a bit careful about the flooring that we choose." "Okay," said Hazel. He said, "Well, thanks very much for your help." And she said, "No problem." She hung up and then said, "He didn't laugh." So she's been waiting. This is a long time ago now, a few months ago. And she said that nothing came out of it except that she did hear somewhere that one of the local photographers from the local paper was rung up by this particular merman who wanted to do a photo shoot of him as a merman.
Are you sure couldn't have been someone else? You think
What,
there's
another
only
merman?
one merman in Bateman's Bay, in the bay?
I think there's probably only one merman.
Well,
Yeah.
You never
I think we'd know about it if there was more. But anyway, what she does know is that today she took a call from a mermaid, is what she said to me.
Fuck. So did she get any kind of psychic reading from the voice?
She didn't say.
That's very interesting. Look, I mean, when I was a kid, I would always be doing prank calls, all the time.
Yes.
But I would be laughing and we'd hang up like,
You'd laugh.
You
This guy
would
never laughed. She was really
Fuck.
shaken.
Oh my
Not
God.
shaken, just confused, I'd say.
Yeah. God, well, I guess he didn't buy the house.
I don't know. I didn't hear anything more about it.
Yeah, like for Christmas, I sent over mermaid tails for the girls as their Christmas presents. They love it. They're all obsessed with mermaids.
That is very popular amongst some grown-ups as well. I did a little bit of researching and I did see there were people in America all wearing their tails. One's a guy, bunch of girls and one guy who is androgynous. And then, of course, when I Googled Bateman's Bay mermaids, there is a video on YouTube of a lovely girl sampling her mermaid tail in the waters, in the crystal clear waters of the bay. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. You never know what you're going to get. It all happens to Hazel, doesn't it?
It does. It does happen. But if he was real, wouldn't he be shaped like a manatee? You know those, they used to be confused as,
I don't know how you can confuse a manatee with...
They would have creepy gills and would eat with their stomach out on the table.
And they're not...
Because
they're not nice.
they're not the pretty things that you think they are.
They're not. And in fact, wasn't it Christopher Columbus who said he saw mermaids? And
Did he?
And said, yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, Christopher
Manatees.
Columbus... No, well, it doesn't say that he saw manatees. He has actually been reported as seeing 3 mermaids near the Dominican Republic and saying, oh, they were all right, but they're not as pretty as you think they're going to be. So it's like, thanks, Chris. Thanks, Christopher.
Probably horrific looking, actually.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, mermaids have been documented for centuries, but where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? Show me the evidence.
Has anyone ever caught one?
Well, have you done any research into this?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so look.
I was just looking for I was trying to track down the merman from Bateman's Bay. I wanted to see the picture. I thought maybe there'd be one, like a picture of him in the Bay Post.
Oh, no, he's just being a baywit, mate. Baywit.
Baywit.
No, look. So, I mean, like I said, as early as like the 14th century, Christopher Columbus is saying he's seen mermaids. So obviously, if in folklore it's been around for a while, the idea of mermaids. Okay, zipping forward. 1944. Zip. 1944, World War II.
Yeah.
Japanese soldiers said they spotted a load of mermaids in the Key Islands in Indonesia. So apparently the locals were used to them and they were all a bit like meh about them. And they called
Japan. They have those little things, don't they?
Well, this is in Indonesia.
Okay. But they've got these little things. Have you not seen that film Ponyo? The little fishy guy from under the sea.
So these ones are called orangutan. Not orangutan, orangutan.
Oh.
I don't know how you really say that. And that means manfish, directly translated. And people would see them loads. They were just everywhere. And look, they don't sound like beautiful sirens with flowing hair and mermaid tails. These
and little seashells over their boobies.
Not
the look, is it?
Not the Little Mermaid. These creatures were described as like 150 centimeters tall, i.e. my height. Salmon pink coloured skin, spikes on their spines, shoulders and necks, and a mouth that resembled a carp.
Like that.
Basically, trout pout. Right? And instead of having a fishtail, they had long arms and frog-like legs with talons at the end.
Frog-like, does that mean like kind of in a permanent bend?
I would say
like
so.
my dog?
So basically nothing like a mermaid. So,
No.
But anyway, apparently the
So
Japanese...
who saw these? The Japanese soldiers on
Yeah.
their way to bomb Sydney Harbour.
Oh, probably. They were...
Failed attempt.
Yeah. Thank God. This Japanese sergeant said to the villagers, look, I want to see one, and I don't care if you capture it dead or alive. So,
Bloodthirsty.
you know what they did? They captured one, but they brought it back dead. And this guy, Sergeant Taro, says he saw with his own eyes this weird part fish, part human. Doesn't sound very human to me.
Doesn't
but he
sound
reckons,
human. It sounds part fish, part frog. Yeah.
Yeah, part fish, part frog. And he said, it had a human-looking face with human-looking limbs and spikes along its head. I don't know.
I don't like the fish with a human face. I feel like I've seen that in a movie somewhere.
But I feel like I've seen that on some kind of documentary where you're going, fuck, that's in the
an
bottom of the
axolotl.
Oh my God.
That's the Mexican walking fish, isn't it? But they don't have a human
Jesus.
face.
They just have a sombrero.
It makes me think of The Thing. You know that film, The Thing, with Kurt Russell?
No.
Oh, there's something awful. I think it's the dog has a human face at some point. I can't remember.
Well,
Blanked it.
I get why.
Carlito's Way was the name of that film, by the way, that starring Pacino and Leguizamo.
God, okay.
Carlito's Way. Sorry. Sean Penn's in that
Fantastic.
too. Very good, yeah.
Well, look, when it comes to like creatures from the deep, I get it. I get why people think they maybe see things coming out of the sea because it's unknown.
Uncharted, unnavigated.
Whereas everything above land, basically every square inch of this planet has been traversed by the foot of a human, right? Pretty much. I would say, or if not, it's been photographed. You know, there is not one undiscovered piece of Earth. But but the sea, that is like scary. It's like fuck knows what's down there that we have
absolutely.
no idea about. So I kind of get the idea of mermaids and people, you know, thinking that maybe there's something like that. But there's more sightings, right?
Yeah.
So I'll quickly whiz you through a couple. So
I'd love to know.
1967 in Canada, near the main islands of British Columbia, a ferry full of tourists all saw the same thing. So they saw this cute little dimpled mermaid sitting topless on the beach.
Dimpled?
Yeah, dimpled. That was their description. Sitting topless on the beach as they passed, eating a fish, enjoying the waves splashing
Waving.
over her. And apparently
guys.
she had the torso of a blonde woman with the body of a porpoise. And this sounds like exactly like what we think of mermaids. But then, so in 1988, there was a guy called Jeff Laker, and he was diving in Hawaii, and he reckons he spotted a mermaid when he was swimming with a pod of dolphins. So he reckons...
because he was just able to swim with a pod of dolphins just like that.
Well, he's a diver. He's like a trained diver. And, you know, he does a lot of research and categorizing and, you know, cataloging and stuff. So he had all camera equipment. And he says at first he thought it was a nude woman just swimming with the dolphins.
Oh.
But he says this woman was keeping pace with the dolphins. But then she jumps in the air.
Like the dolphins do.
Like the dolphins do. And he realizes she's fucking half fish, right? Now, I'll remind you, this is 1998, people.
98.
98. This is not even that long ago, right? Wow. So apparently the other 10 people who were diving in the boat also saw this mermaid, but she disappeared before anyone could take a photo. Always the way. However, an hour later, when the mermaid returned, Laika was diving and he didn't know she had returned, and she brushed up against him, and he had his camera gear, and he actually took some pictures.
Did he? Did you see them?
Yes, I saw them. Now,
oh wow.
The thing is,
hoax or...
Sorry, guys. To me, this looks like fake news because... Right. Okay, for a start, you can't see the face. You can only see the silhouette of the mermaid, the outline, the blackened sort of silhouette, because, you know, it's when you take pictures into the sun, because the water is above, the sun's coming in.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and it just looks...
Will you put these pictures on the website?
Yeah, I will. I'll do a blog post. So, honestly, it's dodgy as fuck. So, I'm not convinced that was real. But then... we moved to this century, right? So, yes, this shit is real.
The 2020s?
Well, 2009, right? So, apparently there were dozens of locals near Kiryat Yam in Israel, which is on the Mediterranean. And they reckon they all saw this mermaid sitting on the beach. And she was young. She was doing tricks in the water. But they kept it to themselves. But eventually the media got hold of this story and they tried to film the mermaid. Again, no success. And even after, and then the government decided to get involved because they were like, fuck, if this really...
This is great for tourism.
Well, that's what I think. But they've put $1 million up for anybody who can find actual proof of the mermaid.
$1 million?
Yeah, so if you can bring evidence, not capture and kill it, but evidence,
Oh, God.
$1 million, all yours. So there you
Wow.
go. It's up for grabs.
That's a very big incentive. Has no one come through with the goods yet? That's more than
No.
10 years ago.
I know, $1 million is still up for grabs. People, get out to Israel. So then, 2012, Zimbabwe. Mermaids were blamed for hounding workers and divers away from a site of a reservoir. Now, look, I didn't know mermaids could live in reservoirs. I thought they needed to be in oceans, but hey-ho. So these reservoirs were under construction, and then some divers, and look, these are all government workers in Zimbabwe. They were tasked with installing water pumps into the reservoir. So, they dived in, and when they resurfaced from diving in with these pumps, they all fucking quit. They were like, no, we are not going down there, not doing it. Apparently, the government were like, okay, these black workers just don't want to work. So they went and hired a load of white workers who they thought might be more reliable. White workers went down. They all came up, spooked the fuck out, and they all quit on the spot, and they were like, no, we are not going down there.
What did they see, Michelle?
Yeah, they saw these weird, angry mermaids, right? Angry mermaids, creatures who were really aggressive and basically hounded them the fuck away and were like, get away.
Gee whiz.
And to this day, those reservoirs have still not been built because no one will go down there.
That's madness. What year was this again?
2012.
Oh.
Yeah, 10 years ago, almost. 9 years ago. My
Amazing.
maths is shit. But shit is real, people. People get scared by this stuff. These weren't like happy, friendly, blonde lady eating a fish on a beach. Scary.
Turning tricks.
So there you go, mermaids.
Oh, mate.
Could be, might not be. Who knows? I don't want to give too much time to unicorns, but I feel like...
Oh, yes. Let's give
feel
a
like
little bit of time to the unicorn.
Look, the whole world has become so fucking obsessed with unicorns. I'm over it. Like every little kid has a fucking unicorn bag or this or that. And even
there was
grown
a big
women.
year of it last year for us.
Oh, God. Even grown women are like... So I'm kind of over the sexy unicorn, whatever. Like it's...
Sexy? Hang on. Sexy unicorn?
Seriously, get on
What?
Instagram. All these women in freaking like bikinis with a unicorn horn on. All
Are
trying
you
to be-
serious?
Yes. But even
There's all these new things like Pornhub and sexy unicorns. I just miss out being a suburban housewife.
Funny you should say that, because when I was kind of looking slightly into unicorns, which, come on, let's face it, it's basically a fucking horse with a horn, right? That's all it is. It's not. There's nothing mythical about this shit. But anyway, it came up, and I knew about this, but I'd forgotten. Unicorn is a sex thing as well.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
Because of the horn?
No, worse than that.
Oh.
So
it's already pretty bad in my mind,
I
Michelle.
know. Yeah, okay, don't go there. So, look, if you're dating and you're looking for a unicorn, that's a whole other thing.
Oh, like a bear?
No, right. So, the sex type of unicorn, it's basically usually a bisexual girl who's down to hook up with, your basic kind of hetero couple, looking for no strings attached threesome.
So a third wheel?
It's a throuple! It's like
throuple.
It's a throuple, like Ginny Lemon's throuple.
No, a throuple is when you actually live together and have a relationship together, but threesomes they're talking about.
Well, but it could also be more. It could be no strings attached, or it could be something more.
Oh, okay. That's a unicorn.
Yes. Now look.
The gooseberry.
Yeah, but it's a thing. And look, there's even an app for it. It's called Field, F-W-E-L-D.
Huh?
It's an app where you can find one. Field.
You find a unicorn in a field.
In a field. Or, look, if you're on Tinder, I'm going to just give a word of advice to our single friends. If you're on Tinder and you just think popping a little unicorn emoji, be careful, because that is the signal that basically you are up for some threesome action.
Amazing. Thank you for that info, Michelle.
Yeah.
I'd never have thought of that.
No.
It's a minefield out there.
But you know what? All of these like mythical creatures and stuff, What I want to know is, why is it, do you think, that we as a society want to believe in mythical creatures?
What do we call it in one of the other episodes when we're talking about
Magical thinking.
psychopaths? Magical thinking.
Yeah.
Religion.
I know.
Sorry, guys.
No, but this is it, because, look.
Loaves and fishes.
But look, in the same way as UFOs and ghosts, do you think it's just because we want to try to understand things we can't explain? And that somehow, believing in all these mythical creatures give us a more exciting and maybe creative way to view life,
Yeah, and jump to the most outlandish conclusions.
Yeah.
Quite often.
But also, do you think that when we can't explain something, because let's be honest, aside from some dodgy photographs on the internet, some shit footage from the 1960s and some probably fake news casings of footprints, there's no fucking evidence for any of this stuff. Has anyone ever found a unicorn horn? Has a mermaid tail ever been found?
I don't think I think unicorns are pretty universally accepted as being just made up.
Well, yeah, but mermaids too. Come on, listen to yourself. Mermaids. It's not
I'm not
just
saying
unicorns.
mermaids are real.
No, but
I'm not saying mermaids are real. And I was very shocked when you told me that there's been sightings very recently, and particularly the angry horde that's in the reservoir or in the
I know.
pond.
I know.
Science is good, though. Science is good to come along and debunk certain things like,
Yes.
or prove certain things. But people then, even when faced with that information, still want to say, no, that can't be right. Or, the world is flat after all. Or God made us not, we didn't evolve. We were just created from Adam's rib.
Yeah. And, science is being revised all the time, And, of course, there are things on this planet we haven't discovered, we can't see, hear, comprehend. We don't even know yet that they exist. But it's out there. I'm sure there's stuff out there. And look,
of course.
maybe like evolution, maybe these things did exist once. And like the way of the dodo or other dinosaurs, they've just become extinct.
The bustard.
The what?
Oh, busted. The bustard's.
What's a bustard?
The bustard's gone in. It's a bird.
It's a fucking boy band. What?
Busted. Bustard, it's called.
Okay.
Busted. There it is. It's a terrestrial bird living in dry grassland, and I'm pretty sure they are down to the last one or two.
Okay.
Doesn't say here. They're a funny looking thing.
All right.
But yeah, there's not many of them.
But you think about Bigfoot, right? So that footage was taken in the 60s. Since then, climate change.
Yeah.
Right. We've had population explosion. What if there really was something, but actually now it's extinct? I mean, that's also...
We'll never know.
We won't ever know.
Unless we find the bones.
No. In general, we have a willingness to believe in
Keep
something
an
more.
open mind.
Yeah.
Keep an open mind is what I recommend.
In
Absolutely,
life.
at all times.
Oh, great life advice, Geordie. Great life advice.
Thanks. Michelle, I forgot to mention the drop bears.
Oh, my God. Okay, tell me
The
about
Australian
those.
drop bears. I can't believe that you've never encountered one in all the years you've lived in
I've
Australia.
heard about drop bears, and there was a band. Wasn't there a Canberra band, the Drop Bears?
There was a band called the Drop Bears. And I thought they were just a band until one day I was standing under a tree. We were all out, a bunch of us teenagers were out and about in the bush. And somebody said, oh, don't stand under that tree. There's drop bears. I was like, what? Apparently they are like koalas, but they've got talons. They'll rip your skin up, and they've got sharp fangs, and they'll just and really get on. They drop from the trees above onto your head, rip you to shreds.
First of
and
all,
that's what every English tourist is told when they first set foot in Australia.
Okay,
and they usually fall for it because there is other things that can kill you.
First of all, possums sounds like just a fucking possum because possums are
true, Michelle.
vicious. I know, but
the point is, it's a joke.
I know it's a joke, but possums vicious.
Yeah.
Secondly,
well, you don't want a goanna running up your body either. I'm so frightened of goannas.
Or a monitor. Fuck.
Do you remember that time we went on a picnic with my parents, and there was that, and he had all bits of him ripped off. He was an old man goanna, and my mum was casual as you like.
Yes, she was.
I was like, Mum. She's like, oh, he won't bother you.
And I was like going,
He'll
that's a
leave you
fucking
alone.
mini dinosaur right there. They are fucking
it was
terrifying.
so horrifying.
It was scary. I do remember that. God.
I've heard that if you stand still, they run up your body like they think you're a tree.
Oh,
I don't want
my
that.
God. No, thank you. I would shit myself anyway. Oh, dear.
Well, on that bright image of you shitting yourself,
Thanks,
Michelle,
Geordie.
I think I'm about done here.
Me
How about
too.
you?
Me too. All right.
Should we say farewell and just remind our listeners to rate, review, subscribe, share, go to the website, which is called eavesdroppinpodcast.com.
And if you've got any stories or anything you want us to chit-chat about, let us know.
Yeah.
Lots of
we always
opportunities.
need ideas.
Yes,
Yep.
of course.
All right then, gang. Till next week.
Adios. Ciao. Keep
eavesdropping.
Eavesdropping.
Eavesdropping. Eavesdropping.
Drop it.
Eavesdropping.